Hey guys, welcome back to the Apex Files podcast presented by Racecomp Engineering. I'm Larry.
And I'm Drew.
And today's guest, we have a recurring guy, Gresham Wagner.
Yeah, he was one of our first guests. Last time we had him on, he had just won the 2022 TCA America class in a Subaru BRZ.
Yep. And now switching over to the this past season, did the first inaugural GR Cup, Toyota GR Cup.
Where he got second overall. So we talk a little bit about that series and the future of that series, where he's going. And yeah, he's a really interesting guy to talk to. He's got a lot of insight on the behind the scenes, off the circuit parts of racing.
Yep. And he's also continuing the Global MX5 Cup as well.
Yep.
So we kind of get him that. And I believe he's announced that he's switching to a new team, so we can finally announce that as well.
Yeah, so, and we also talk a little bit about some of the track reliability and maintenance things with the second gen BRZ and GR86. So a little bit of the oiling issues there, but we'll get into it. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Gresham Wagner.
Great to have you back on.
Yeah. Congrats on the second place finish in the GR Cup series this past year. Lots of exciting racing and some legitimately exciting competition.
Yeah, it was really. I think you know the level of drivers that we saw obviously in the series ranges so much, but to see the top guys like you and Gonzalez and Kohlbecker battle out like that's I think what really made the season this year so exciting. But you know What is your thoughts on the first inaugural season, the GR Cup, for this series?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the first year, right? So you never quite know exactly, right? Everybody has a plan until you show up for year one, and then there's always expected hiccups and things. But off the bat, I'll say, all in all, I was super, super excited with it. I thought it was met or exceeded every expectation I had. You know, because I've been doing the one make stuff for a while, right, on the IMSA side, and I did, you know, TCA America with SRO. So, you know, I've seen, you know, a couple different angles of it. I knew kind of where he's going to slot in, what they were trying to do. But, you know, it's still a new car. You don't know if it's going to have, you know, some kinks to work out, if there's going to be issues with it, which, I mean, I didn't really see anything that was a consistent issue during the year. You know, I finished every race bar one with a mechanical. So I think, you know, one race out of the season they have a mechanical is pretty expected. So reliability wasn't an issue. The cars raced really great. I thought they had a really good balance on, you know, enough draft that you could race, but not so much that it was gimmicky. And I say that not as a slight to other series, but we already have, you know, MX5 Cup that has a lot of draft. I don't think we needed another series that was to that level. I think it slotted in well, whereas a one make series that offered something a little bit different, but just as exciting, you know, just in a slightly different way, right? The racing that you had was a little bit more tactical. It wasn't so 110%, you know, just, you know, swapping all around all the time. You had to plan a little bit more. You had to execute better. You're punished for mistakes more. And as a driver, I really liked that aspect of it. And then, of course, during the season, you know, people caught up, teams caught up. And I think it just got more competitive as we went. So going into year two, I expect, you know, everything from year one is just going to be more intense, but also, you know, just the product is going to be better.
Yeah, it seemed like the cars were really set up to be really composed and easy to drive. Is that your impression too? Like how do they compare to like the TCA cars that you drove, the BRZ that you drove previously?
Yeah, of course it's the same platform, right? You know, the suspension's a little bit different. We've got you know, the Bosch ABS and the traction control on the GR Cup car. You know, different tires. It's got a rear wing. You know, all those little things do add up to give you a different experience. But I would say the fundamental way that you drive the car is still there. The feeling, the characteristics, and like the energy the car has, if that makes sense, was all just tuned and improved on what I had driven. So when I got out there, you know, the learning curve for me, it was still there, but it wasn't huge.
Yeah, very small.
Even coming in without any experience. Yeah, coming in without any experience in the platform at all, I still feel like I could have adapted relatively quickly. I think as long as you're not overdriving the car, it really does do what you want it to do. That's just kind of the one key thing. If you overdrive it, it just doesn't really cooperate. It doesn't work. But if you could just back it down that one little notch, it does everything really really smoothly, really well. And I think that's why you saw people when different drivers that maybe weren't there during in some races when they drove a composed, calm race and really just put it together. You could see them all of a sudden find this pace. It's not that I don't think they necessarily found a magic set or anything like that. I think it's more the mental approach to just driving the car and letting it do what it needs to do. So I like a car that does that, right? You can just keep it calm and composed, hit your marks, and it works.
And yeah, you're still doing the Miata Cup versus Global MX-5 as well, simultaneously this year as well, right?
Yes, which is different.
Yeah. So now you're really like going back between something super, like you said, driving 110%, and then trying to be more tactile. Mm-hmm. Did you find that hard to change that mindset every once in a while?
Yes and no. I would say driving a car is not an issue, right? I can jump between different cars, like most people would probably say, right? Once you get used to it, and a car. Like I've driven the MX-5 that was my 5th year now, so I know that car like the back of my hand. And then I had driven the BRZ platform, and then adjusted to the GR Cup pretty quickly. So in that sense, it wasn't really hard to get back and forth, but the type of racing was the biggest thing. And I feel like I'm talking about the mental side of it a lot, but it comes down to that: the way that the cars race, the way that the racecraft is, the way that the races develop over 45 minutes is different in the 2 series. The way that you attack a race, the way that you have to drive other people, just the flow and everything. That's the hardest thing, because it's 2 totally different types of racing to some extent, especially when you've got MX-5 at Daytona or Road America, and then you take the GR Cup car and go to I guess a bit of a tighter track, I would say, right? Like it went to Nashville. I wasn't there, but that's a totally different type of racing. I watched it, and I wasn't surprised by what I saw, right? A lot of people had to adjust to different things. You saw different people up front and everything like that. But then, also when we do go to, tracks like Indy and everything that do have draft, you don't see this massive pack racing like you do with MX-5. You still see good racing, but it's not these 10 car huge packs.
Yeah. It seems like in GR Cup, you'd get 3, 4, 5 cars that would pull out way ahead, and much bigger packs at the front with MX-5 Cup. And yeah, usually you up among the front there. What is the manufacturer support like from Toyota at the track, and I guess also outside of a track weekend? It seems like they put a lot of effort into making it.
Yeah, I assume like they have like trucks of like spare parts there ready for you guys, or if need be, stuff like that.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing about Toyota, right, is it's massive in terms, for better or for worse, right? It's not that's not the comparison I'm making, but Mazda at this point has MX-5 Cup. That's it. That's their baby, and they do a lot for that. Toyota has the GT4 program. They've got the NASCAR side. They've got the dirt stuff. They have everything, right? So this was not something where they were going into without any experience. They knew what kind of support they needed, how to give a good customer experience, how to put on a series successfully. The setup they had was top notch. If you ever need anything, that they're there. They have the whole support. They have the parts, and more than that, I would say just the overall just presence that they have there. With a huge manufacturer. So they were doing a documentary during the season that you could official Toyota channel. There was the hospitality that they had. There was all these different level things that they were doing to get the series off the ground year one. So it wasn't just mechanics at the track with some parts. It was the package.
Well, the new group of cars we saw that Toyota, GR posted a new crop of cars coming in. Are we expecting those cars to join you guys in the field as well?
Yeah. So I'm not the guy to ask about what the entry list looks like for next year. I frankly, it's one of those things. Like, I know there'll be new people. Some people will leave. Some people will come back. I've been doing it long enough. I'm not stressed out about it. Because I mean, Tyler was as tough as any competition you're going to get. So, I'm not sitting here each day worried about who's going to show up. I'm sure better drivers will come. And then, like I said, everyone got better. And then I'm sure, there's drivers that learned a lot from last year or in related programs, whether it be Super Trofeo or GT4 that might come to the series. I'm not surprised that it grew. After year one, I'm sure everyone saw what the product was and wanted to get involved if they weren't already. I know for me, it was a natural thing. As soon as the season ended, right, I wanted to come back and give it another shot. It was super successful, but I definitely knew, that I could contend for a championship if I came back
absolutely
this year. So,
and the only race you didn't was Nashville, right? That was the only one you didn't attend.
Yeah, and unlucky for everybody, right? They had all the weather issues and all the delays and everything like that. Luckily for me, the second race got abandoned and moved to Indianapolis. So I actually got to do half of the Nashville weekend as part of the makeup at Indy, which, I'm not going to complain, right? I had to start last for it, but,
so still get to compete for points there, right?
Good. Yeah. So I was a little bit bummed to not be able to go to Nashville and race at that track because,
it's a street circuit. Yeah, it's like,
it's Nashville, right? But yeah, that's just the way it kind of happened. So
was that the only street circuit on the schedule?
Yeah. And then, of course, it got moved to IndyCar's finale for this upcoming year. So we're not going back.
Okay.
Which I don't say that too disappointed because they replaced it with Barber, which is a track that I've been to in the past a lot that kind of disappeared from some of the schedules for a bit there, if you weren't open wheel or IndyCar. So I've been every year talking to, MX5, Cup and everything saying this is the track I want back. And same thing, if we weren't going to go to Nashville, I think that's the best place we could be. So I was super excited to see that back on a sports car schedule. Yeah.
So throughout the whole season, we kind of saw, just like you said, different groups within the series in terms of levels and of driving. Like you, Spike, Tyler, you guys are on another level. And then we have other people that, this was like the first wheel-to-wheel series or never even touched a race car before and joining in. But my question is are you excited to see or welcome more people with experience to kind of get, bring that level of competition higher versus just, you might have 4 or 5 guys that be battling versus just 2 or 3.
Yeah. So I think it's 50-50, right? With new drivers coming in, I think there are going to be some new drivers that come in that are going to immediately be on the pace and be able to race up front and add to that. And then I think there were drivers last year that showed it at different points, that capability. I remember at VIR, Lucas Weisenberg, kind of came out of nowhere. And I mean, I was out there in the lead. I thought I had that race under control, and he just was faster than everyone, that day, ran up. We fought hard. He ended up beating me, which, I wasn't upset about it, right? Because I was like, he drove an incredible race, and I couldn't be upset. He had a great race and a great day. And then he had some other bad luck during the year and stuff like that. And at Sebring, he was involved in a crash, so he wasn't really there. But then I raced against Austin Dodge at Sebring, who kind of was that next guy to step up. Raced super hard with him, and I was like, okay, so there are guys that can do it. They have that capability. It's just a matter of them, figuring out what they need to do to get there consistently. And I think they're right on the cusp, right? So there's nothing stopping those guys like Lucas and Austin, and there's other people I didn't name that are just as capable, right? So I think if they just pause during the off season, figure out what worked, come back with that fresh start, and just stick with the fundamentals of what they were doing, I think they'll, take that next step and be up there. So I think we'll be a mix.
I think we're both definitely super excited to see next season what you guys have to offer.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if it's a learning curve or not just for you, but kind of the series in general. There was at times some bad luck or decisions that didn't go your way or other people's way that put people in different positions, and so sometimes you'd see somebody like make up 20 places in a session or a race, and I think next season I'm hopeful to see kind of more consistent racing in general. I mean, there's always going to be bad luck and things that just happen and stuff, but a bigger pack up front would be really cool. And it does sound like some of the drivers you mentioned and some of the younger drivers that really did pick up speed throughout the season. It would be awesome to see them continue to grow and take that next step. So I'm looking forward to next season. I mean, I actually watched pretty much every race on YouTube because it's great like production value, and they did a great job. I forget the name of the commentator, but they did an awesome job.
First race, I think we were like texting each other. I was like, "Hey, you on? Yeah, I'm waiting. We're ready for the start." But you are driving a spec series race car. For us street guys over here, I'm sure you heard of oiling issues that maybe you heard, maybe you have about the crazy oiling issues the second generation is dealing with. My question is, are you guys on your factory motor? And have you had heard of any other teams that have issues or are on new motors?
So I mean, I can't speak for if people had issues in testing or this or that, right? I can say, I think there was maybe 1 or 2 instances maybe during the year where people had to swap a motor out. So don't quote me on that, but I think, for sure, there's probably an instance.
I mean, it's a race series, so things happen.
Right. But I mean, you got 30 cars across 14 events, so 1 or 2 engines
that's nothing.
Well, right. So for our team and what I was doing, right? I mean, the engine is stock, right? And I mean, there were no issues at all with that. So, I see some people complain about it. I'm sure, there are different, I don't know, issues that people may have. It hasn't come over and affected the stuff we're doing with the GR Cup. So,
and you guys have aero and are putting down, downforce too. Like it's
legit tires.
You're right. So if anything, you guys would experience it first.
No, I mean, we run the stuff as hard as you're going to run it. So, like I always say to people, I'm not a mechanic. I can't tell you, the intricacies of what's happening, why it might be working better or not. I can just tell you that the stuff didn't break and it ran great.
It won you races, right?
Yeah.
How did you like the sequential transmission on that car?
Yeah. So the sequential it's the same exact sequential that's on the MX-5 Cup car. So I'd already been using it for, I guess, 2 years, probably 2 or 3 years. So it can be tuned a bit, with how it integrates into the electronics of the car with the blipping and, the throttle cut and everything like that. But the actual system, it's pretty foolproof. I don't think anybody had any issues during the year with it. It's a proven system. And, I think if anything, it bridges that gap between club racing and then like full pro level GT4, GT3 type cars, right? MX-5 for a while, when I started racing, had the H pattern. And I think it was just a natural evolution as that series rose in professional, kind of standing and where it slotted in. But that was kind of the avenue that they were going to go. And it's the same thing with GR Cup. I think, people love the H patterns and kind of how it is to drive. But, for what we're doing, the sequential definitely just works a bit better. It's got better reliability. You don't have people missing shifts or these little tiny issues that sometimes, crop up, or people being in a fight for something and missing a shift and blowing their engine, right? I mean, it's for better or for worse, that's just what it is now. And I think
you can focus more on the actual racing aspect.
Yeah,
of it,
right. Yeah.
It's like we were talking to another guy before. It's like, most people will go out there and, try to fit it, fine tune their suspension and every rebound and compression click, where other guys just go out there and drive. And then, they, end up being faster than the guys trying to, meticulously tune their cars and stuff. So,
what are your plans for the off season?
Well, it's one of those things, right? Everybody talks about the off season as like relaxing, but for drivers like me, and most other people that don't, go into the off season with, pro level contracts signed and everything like that, is trying to figure out what you're going to do, get everything in place. So, I can't, the announcements haven't been made yet, but, they're imminent. So I can say that for both MX5 Cup and GR Cup, I will be coming back to both those series, but with different teams in both of them. So it'll be a big change for me. But that's what I've been working on up until this point this off season.
Cool.
So I'm excited, to kind of, wrap it up, get that started. And I mean, Daytona, right, for the 24 and everything like that's right around the corner. So
it's coming up a lot quicker than we expect.
Yeah.
We always get you.
So I mean, when you're talking about putting up.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, yeah. When you're trying to put a program together, right, you're talking about, it's just December, it's the off season, but I mean, the stuff's got to be locked in, preferably at least 5 or 6 weeks out from when you're going to do it. Right. And that's, right in the middle of December. So
we always get you right before you're allowed to make an official announcement.
Yeah. That early December time is pretty hectic, people moving around and stuff. But, like I said, I'm in the position where I don't just finish the season and say, oh, I want to go race with these people and cut a check, right? So I have to kind of work some stuff out, kind of navigate the whole silly season with, what can I make work for me in the financial position I'm in? Yeah. So
if possible.
With that being said,
sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, with that being said, I'm really excited about the two teams that I'm with, and they're definitely not, my second or third choice. They are my first choice, and I'm very excited.
Nice. And you said two different teams for both series, correct? Okay, nice.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
We're trying to do the math in our head here, but it's like, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out in January or whatever. That's cool though. Yeah. I'm just curious what like the relationship is with the other drivers. It seems like everybody gets along and everything like that. And, even with the super tight racing, it seemed pretty clean like for the most part.
The paddock seems like pretty small for the series, right? Or the videos that like the documentary that Toyo did, like all the cars were basically just like under one roof or half of them,
Yeah. So the way that SRO, firstly, the way that they paddock it, it really is kind of a little camp, right? I guess is what you could say. They have the hospitality center with the Toyota setup and everything, and they have all the teams right there, packed around it. It's not, too scattered, whatever. Everybody's, neighbors with each other. And we're all packed in that one little kind of compound. So you definitely bump elbows with everyone. And I would say, pretty confidently, I would say the general relationship on the GR Cup side is smoother and more holistic than maybe on the MX5 Cup side. And that's not to say the MX5 Cup people like all hate each other and stuff like that, but I think it's just, I mean, the racing over there, like stuff happens a lot more, if you get what I'm saying. Like there's a lot more dicing incidents, maybe some sketchy moves that people don't like, and that's just a product of the close racing and the draft and everything. Whereas you race a bit more tactical in the GR Cup stuff. And I think, that shows a bit in the decision making that people have. Like I said, you got to plan out your moves a bit more. You don't just get a draft and, boom, make a move right in that instant. You kind of plan it out, plot it out. And so people, I think, are a bit more clear in what their intentions are when they're racing, where they place their car, and everything like that. And so I think that leads to people getting along a bit better. So I mean, incidents are natural, right? But I mean, in every case that there is an incident, I'm pretty sure, the drivers, talked about it, and kind of got along well. I know there was a particular incident VIR that took out a couple drivers, and I'm sure nobody was thrilled, but everyone still It was pretty
amicable, right?
Level-headed. Pretty level-headed in how they dealt with it. Like, it was just one of those things, move on the rest of the season. They didn't hold a lot of grudges. And I mean, I'm saying this, I don't know, the back of everyone's mind, but just on the surface level, everyone's very friendly. You can talk to anybody. At the end of the sessions, all the cars go into the impound, and we all stand around for 20 minutes while they do the data downloads. We all end up talking to each other and everything like that. So it's a very close atmosphere that we work in. And I think it's great that everyone kind of gets along as well as they do.
Yeah. So is your focus just set on MX5 and GR Cup right now? Like, if the opportunity arose, would you try to fit in Super Trofeo, something like that, if possible?
Yeah. So of course, I've had opportunities to do a few different things for the last couple of years. Ever since I won the MX5 championship. I've had some opportunities to move up and do that stuff. The thing is, when you look at like the value that you get, right? GT4 and Super Trofeo are great series for a variety of reasons. But if I win a race, I don't really get anything back.
Right. Because I remember we talked about this during the first podcast. Yeah. Like the money of the prize is it's a better give and take situation, right? For the MX5 and the GR Cup, like there's something fundamental or like worthy that you can grasp your hands on. And
the way they set up GR Cup makes it appealing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Just at Indy, like we had the extra race, right? So financially, that's the third race on top of the two that we normally have. So take that into account when I say this. But I had 2 seconds and a first, so that's $32,000 right there, plus a pole award, so like $33,000 more or less. I don't know where else you can go and race at that level and walk away from a weekend with $33,000 in prize money. Like, it's just not. It's not one of those things that happens.
Yeah. Other series you just kind of get like
a pat on the back.
Yeah, pat on the back. Yeah, like recognition, right? Oh, this guy's doing well. Maybe he can prove something else again. Versus like, oh, I actually got hard money for this.
It's an unpaid internship.
Right. Yeah. And I will say Mazda and Toyota, they both do it a bit differently. So they both have big purses, but Mazda's a bit more, backloaded onto the championship finishing position, right? They have their championship prize with $250,000, and then 85 to second and so on. But they stepped up, and gave the per race where it's, I think, 6,000, 5,000, 4,000, and so on down to, I believe, 8th place. Maybe don't quote me on that. It's 8th, 10th, somewhere around there, right? But they do give money out, whereas Toyota gives twice as much per race as Mazda does. But the year-end purse isn't quite as big. So they both have pros and cons. I'm not here to say which way is better. But depending on what situation you're in, what kind of deals you can work out with teams and everything, gives you the opportunity. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for everyone else. I'm not going to get into the details of what my stuff is. But I will say, right, when you have good drivers that can bring home $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in prize money each weekend, and that's something that you can negotiate with teams, to fund the stuff, it gives you a lot more avenues than having to cut a check at the beginning of the year and show up and
try to have to prove yourself, right?
Right. This is one of those things where proven good drivers can leverage the prize money to be able to race and get these opportunities. So that's something I think is great. Whereas I can't do that in GT4, right? I'd have to find the funding up front, show up, and then try to prove over that year that I deserve to be able to come back next year. And there's no guarantees of anything. I finished where I finished in GR Cup and Mazda, and I'm guaranteed that money. So, yeah.
So that prize money from Indy lines up nicely with my next question. When are you going to get a BRZ street car?
So everyone always asks,
do you have any urge to get a street car? You
drive them all the time?
Surely. I spend all my money on racing, right? So it's not one of the things at the top of the list, but I've driven the same cars that I've had since I was 15.
Yeah.
I'm 26 now. So I've literally had one car.
Yeah, the BMW, right? 3 Series or something?
Yeah. It's a 3 Series. It's a 2000 model year, and it's sitting at, I think, 199,800 miles right now. So I'm about to hit 200K, and it won't break, right? So I'm kind of riding that out.
Nice.
If something ever happened to it, I'm sure I would consider a BRZ for sure. But yeah. It's a great car. I'd recommend them to anybody, for the price point and how much fun you can have in them. They are great cars.
Yeah. I mean, like when people ask, "Oh, like BRZ or Miata," I'm like, don't get me wrong, I have a ND MB Miata, so the second generation. I love that thing. But then, like, the new Miata's just about the same size. And, like, in reality, the BRZ, like, it has offers so much more room for daily driving and stuff like that. And plus, it's still a great sports car for what you can get for the money-wise.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think they're both great cars, honestly. Like, there's always that debate. And it's like, it comes down to the person. I'm not here to say which one is better. Just like, with the racing series that they have, I'm not here to say whether a MX-5 Cup or GR Cup is better. They're both amazing for different reasons, right? And it kind of follows to, who you are as a person, what you're trying to get out of it. And for me, I recognize they're both great. That's why I do both of them.
Yeah. No, I think because Tyler does both of them as well, correct?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, so he started out in MX-5, and then he came over and drove the MX-5 in the TC America series. Then he came back to MX-5 Cup, but I think he missed a race or two in 2022.
Okay.
And then he started out 2023 doing both of them. But then once the GR Cup, series started up, that was what he focused on.
Yeah. So my point being,
one of those drivers that say does both.
Yeah. So my point is, like, there's not too many drivers that run 2 series throughout the year.
Right.
I think you guys are the very few, but that also shows during your racing too. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I was the only driver that did both of them full time. I'm pretty sure I can confidently say that off the top of my head, which, it's one of those things, like it is tough, right, to balance two series. I think it helps that I had done 4 years in MX-5 Cup, to where I kind of had some stuff solidified there. It's not a huge challenge of like trying to learn the car, the series, the tracks. It's kind of all a baseline, like, given. And so I could take on, GR Cup on top of that, and still have the bandwidth, and the energy to do it.
What are you looking forward to most next season?
Well, I would say a fresh start, honestly, because the way GR Cup started was really up and down. I started Sonoma, had a bad race 1, and then got a third in race 2. Coda, race 1, I won, and then race 2, I was leading, had mechanical. And then VIR, same thing. I had a second place and then a non-score. And then once I hit Road America, it started coming together finally, right? Like I'd had speed, but second and first, and then third and second at Sebring, and then first, second at Indy. It was kind of like finally stringing it together. So, it's nice to be able to say, okay, I know what to do. I could do it, come back and start fresh, and be able to approach the season without having that kind of rocky start, and just trying to put it together and not have that hanging over me, trying to fight back in the points and all of that.
Yeah, well, we hope it comes together for you next year. We'll be watching.
Again, we're always on the stream waiting. We're one of those people, like 10 minutes left. It's already up on the browser waiting for it to load up. So, we'll definitely, we'll be watching you guys again. Series has been great. We love it. It's just another thing to tack on,
for an SRO weekend. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So Gresham, thank you again for joining us, man. We look forward to seeing what teams you'll be with next coming season. And I assume a new color scheme and everything. No more black and orange Miata, right?
Oh, the Miata.
Yeah, Miata was it orange and black this last year? Same.
Yeah,
okay.
It was
last year.
It was black and orange and green, and I'll say that there'll still be black and orange.
Okay,
not
cool.
On the MX-5 Cup side. So
all right, switch it up. All right, cool.
That one out for yourself.
Cool, awesome,
cool. Well, take it easy.
And people follow you Instagram, Facebook. or obviously watch the GR Cup
Yeah,
Series. Yeah, that's and MX5.
Yeah, just GreshamWagner.com at Gresham Wagner. You know, that's the beauty of it. It's just
no one's got your name, right?
Pretty easy to find. So yeah. No, I'm not fighting with anybody for the username. So.
Yeah, nice. So what? First race you said was Daytona, right, for MX5 Cup?
Yes,
okay.
And then the first race for GR Cup is Sonoma, April 5th.
Okay, cool.
Nice. Beautiful track too. Love that place.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Gresham. We'll definitely keep an eye out, and thanks for your time, man. Appreciate it.
See ya.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, cool.